get more insight on the stance of the southern governors and the meeting in Enugu yesterday. The chair of the forum will speak to us tonight exclusively. And resident doctors move to appeal the decision of the industrial court asking them to go back to work. They insist on fighting on. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos. Before we get talking with our special guest on the program tonight, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Oyo State High Court has granted the relief sought by Yoruba Nation agitator Mr. Sunday Adeyemo, popularly called Sunday Igboho, against the Attorney General of the Federation and the DSS, and awarded the sum of 20 billion naira damages against the federal government. Justice Ladira Akitola awarded the sum as compensation for the invasion of Igboho's house by the DSS on July the 1st for what was described as aggravated damage done against the Yoruba Nation activist. The suit was filed by Igboho, demanding 500 billion naira against the AGF and the DSS over the invasion, seeking orders declaring the invasion as a violation of its fundamental human rights.
Today's case is history. It's triumph for democracy, triumph for rule of law.
The Northern Youth Leaders Forum has condemned the former aviation minister, Mr. Femi Fani-Kayode, for the campaign to the All Progressives Congress from the PDP. The president of the forum, Mr. Elliot Afio, made the comment while addressing journalists in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. According to him, he is surprised with the reasons and claims of FFK influencing the defection of 3 PDP governors to the APC.
Nigeria now does not need a southern governor or a northern governor. Let's look for somebody that can fix this country at least 45%.
And as part of efforts towards addressing the insecurity in Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule has convened a second security meeting in the week. The meeting, which is a continuation of Monday's deliberations, is prompted by the infiltration of fleeing bandits from some parts of the country, which the governor revealed have already been sighted in some local government areas of the state. The head of the vigilante group, Hunters Association, leaders of Fulani groups and traditional rulers were all in attendance.
As a result of all this that are coming to us, then we have to do everything possible and continue to maintain the peace that is happening in that area.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's begin the conversation. Yesterday in Enugu State, Southern governors met as a follow-up to their meetings they had in Asaba in Delta State and the one they had also in Lagos State. They came to several conclusions, some of which include the common stance on anti-open grazing law, which several of the states have now signed into law, the issue of the value-added tax, 2023 presidency, and several other issues. The governor of Ondo State, who is the chair of the forum, read the outcome in a communique, but tonight we hope to get more insight on what they agreed on from him. Let's speak with him, but first and foremost, what are the issues for tonight on that matter? First and foremost, the outcome of the Enugu meeting. We get details on that, the implementation strategy and how they hope to achieve that, and the developmental perspectives to all of the policy issues raised by the governor. But with Governor AKEREDOLU tonight, what is the bottom line of this conversation? It's about building a better federation. Let's get talking, everyone, shall we? Governor ROTIMI AKEREDOLU joins us virtually from Ibadan in Oyo State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and appreciate your time for joining us tonight. Let's begin first and foremost. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Let's begin first and foremost on the issue of the anti-open grazing law. You gave a deadline of September. How many of your states are still left to implement or to go ahead to sign these anti-open grazing law into law?
Well, I mean, at the meeting which we held yesterday, virtually all the states those who have signed, they are over 2/3, and those who have not signed had had the law passed by their respective houses, and some were just trying to dot the I's and cross the T's. So for us, from the meeting, from what we gathered at the meeting, virtually every other person, every other state is is going to work about anti-open grazing law. So we do not have any state that is left behind on that anti-open grazing law, except that we had some states who probably felt that they had some laws that were passed many years back. But we decided to give a guideline that, look, yes, you had what we call existing law, you had an extant law, but we felt that those laws should be brought up to date, and we advised one or two states that had that, and they are going to go back to work on it.
So, what is the larger picture of that anti-open grazing law? Because you also mentioned the issue of the localized security architecture that each of the states, you have encouraged them to build. But for the anti-open grazing law, what is the larger picture? Because you look so much that you want a unified system for all the 17 states in the southern region. What is the next step after the end of September when all states have signed this bill into law?
What we have read from our communique, we were clear that all of us were satisfied with what the rate at which the states have gone ahead on this anti-open grazing law. But what we have said is this: most of us, we felt there must be a peer review system in which virtually all the southern states, the laws we are going to have will not be essentially different from each other. And the idea is this: the threat we face is the same, and it is that, look, our what I would call people within the state, those who are living with us, those who have elected us, those who want us, that we are governors over, their existence is being threatened by a particular way of assault. That is that, okay, their means of livelihood is being threatened. So it's the same thing. Everybody suffered the same damage, and we felt that, look, the only way out of this is this. Look, if we have to ensure that your cattle are herded in a particular way that will not be dangerous or will not cause inconvenience and damage to others, so all of us are agreed on that, and it's so simple that, look, there is no the laws cannot be different. All we are saying is that don't graze in the open. Yes, if you have feedlots, if you have areas where you can herd your cattle, fair enough, but don't graze in the open to destroy other people's means of livelihood. So the baseline is that we have the same focus. All of us have the same focus, and that is what has given rise to this anti-open grazing law.
The Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, a few days ago, they came forward asking the federal government to stop the southern governors from implementing or enacting the anti-open grazing law. But it does look like that is late, because almost all the states in the southern region have now enacted that, they passed the bill. Now, the stance is this: they do not want that law to take effect. And they said that their livelihood is being threatened. They're asking the National Assembly and the President to intervene and stop the current attempts by some of the state governors, government to criminalize what they refer to their livelihood of cattle rearing through enacting of what they tag satanic, obnoxious law they call anti-grazing law. What is the position of the southern governors on this?
Well, let me be very clear. The position of Southern governors on this is is that we are resolved not to respond to mark ban, or whatever name they call themselves, the ATL, whatever name they call themselves. We do not want to dignify them with a response. We are a government over a people. We are government over our respective states, and we are governments. I would say government over southern states. So, but how do we now want to get involved in any discussion or argument with MACBAN? MACBAN, if the only thing that matters to us is that if anybody wants to challenge our law, let them go to court. We'll meet them. But to us, we don't want. I don't think we have any response to MACBAN. You can call it any name. If it's obnoxious, it's satanic, whatever name they like, they call it. We do not want to dignify them with any reply. We are not in the same category. We're talking about state, not associations. So the states have taken it. We have taken a decision on behalf of our people, and that is a state law. If anybody wants to challenge it, they can go to court.
Are you worried, Governor, that some of these groups, they've said that their livelihood is being threatened? Is that in a consideration to help or save the livelihood of these people?
No. It's so if their livelihood is being threatened, I mean, if you want to force me to respond to all these things, if their livelihood is being threatened, so they must threaten other people's livelihood. No, nobody is going to allow this. We are saying that there are modern ways in which that cattle are reared now. Go and follow that. Simple. I mean, look at what we are trying to do in those states. We got FAO to come. Call, because we had discovered, this is from those states, I'm not saying in general, we have discovered that the HLI and those states want to work hand in hand with the state government because they know that we are serious. We have arrested so many of them, so they know we are very, very serious. They know that we are not taking this in lightly. So they want to work with us. And we have gotten FAO to come and at least find a way of teaching them how to have feedlots. So you can husband or get your cows in a particular place and get feeds for them, and they feed and they are fatter and they are better. So those are areas which we can more or less assist each other. But if their livelihood is threatened, it's not for them to threaten other people's livelihood. This is what we say we will not allow. So there's no problem.
The federal government is considering and set up a committee to review the grazing routes in about 25 states. And we understand that there's some money that are being given to some states. Has Ondo State received any money? About 6 billion, we understand some states received. Did you receive any of such monies?
Ondo State has not received any money. But if money is being given out to trace grazing routes, we should be sure that Ondo State will not receive that. It's not. There is no grazing route anywhere. We are not going to allow that to happen. We are saying modern animal husbandry. That is what should be a concern now. We are not going to allow for route to where. We are saying you will not graze in the open. We have passed the law. So there is no route we are going to allow anybody to trace in Ondo State. What we have said is very clear. But if there is money for us to have ranches, or if we choose to have ranch, we are encouraging ranches. There's nothing wrong in it. I've always said so. I've always argued this point that if there are ranches, if individuals, if investors come, you have a big ranch, you can haul your cattle with trailers. You can use train to convey them. Before we used to have cattle in trains that they convey to Lagos. You can convey them there and get it to a ranch. Have them properly situate there so that you can feed them at a place. Anybody wants to buy can come and buy for use. But for you to now continue to graze around the cities or in the forest, destroying other people's farmland, that's what we are saying is not going to happen. So there's no grazing route in those states. We will not allow it.
Because the Katsina State, for example, received about 6.25 billion to set up ranching from the federal government. I think is the so-called Ruga settlement and all of that. I know Kano State has had some part of the state has been set up for that purpose, and that was the kind of money that I wanted to confirm. You said Ondo State has not received such money. Okay.
Shehu, we didn't get such money. And if I recollect very well, you need to listen to the governor of Kano State. He has spoken and has spoken very well. He has condemned in very clear terms the issue of now moving with cattle and open grazing. He's condemned it very clearly. And today, even in Katsina State, the governor had come out and said even cross-border transportation of cattle they have condemned and banned it. So every other state is come to agree with us in the South. So if money is being given to those of us who want to establish ranches, why not? Give it to us who have ranches. But that there will be open grazing, that we are saying has become, it has been consigned to a dustbin. It's not going to happen again.
Let me take you from that to another issue that you raised yesterday, and it's a matter of the valued added tax, VAT. I wanted to know, because Lagos State had joined River State. Are we having a situation where more states are going to join these two states in these lawsuits?
Oh yes, there are many more states that will join, and there are some that will not join. Because at the end of the day, whatever we arrive at there, we're binding on all the states. And what the Southern governors have resolved is not something new. What we did yesterday was to go back to our position in the Asaba Declaration. In Asaba, we made it very clear, without missing words, that look, we are committed and to practice of true federalism. That is all we are saying. And fiscal federalism is part of true federalism. So there is no need for us to run away from it. There is no other, you cannot equivocate on matters of this nature. There is no other definition that it can be allowed or can be accommodated. When you have said you are committed to true federalism, and fiscal federalism is part of it. So our position is that I haven't looked at the law. Yes, Rivers have gone to court, Lagos have joined, so many other states probably will join, but we have also now looked at the law, and it is there clearly for us to see that taxation on, or what we call consumption taxes, fall within the purview of a state, and only a state can charge the consumption taxes. That's what we are saying. And I believe that those who are against this know of it. If they don't know, people will not be rushing to the House, the National Assembly now, for an amendment. An amendment that will not see the light of the day. It will be dead on arrival. We are committed to what we have said, true federalism, and fiscal federalism is part of it. And that's what we came out with from that meeting. We were not saying something new. We only just made reference to what we, as about declaration, position in Lagos, and only said we are committed to it, and that flowing from that, the issue of VAT, having found that in law it is within the purview of a state, so be it. Let the state charge their consumer tax. Those of us that will be affected, we are ready to bear it. No problems.
So it's looking like it might be some kind of a class action lawsuit. Is it looking like that?
No. You see, I mean, I think it's not an issue of class action. I'm not too sure it can be described as that. But it's more of a lawsuit between the state and the federal government. Although the action was between Rivers and the Federal Inland Revenue, FIRS, but it is more because if you need, because they are the one collecting the taxes, that's why you went to court against them, that they don't have the right to collect the taxes. So many more states will join, but as I said, whatever decision they arrive at will be binding on all of us. And if we are not satisfied, by the time it goes out beyond where we are now, Court of Appeal, going to Supreme Court, many more states will join. Lagos is joining, and I'm sure that other states are joining.
So, because this is not this is not the only thing that some of the states are challenging the federal government's powers and capacity in some of these issues. Also, there is the 36 state government stamp duty. Absolutely. I mean, for someone like you, a leader in the Southwest region, someone who has also spoken about the issue of restructuring, and for those who have said, man, this is looking like a gradual, a piecemeal approach in implementing restructuring. Do you agree?
Well, those who have said it are not far from the truth. The way I look at it is this: there is no way we might not be able to have this clamor, hope to have restructuring. It might not be in a full swell. It might not be possible. So whether we like it or not, there will be a time to start. And I want to believe that the time to start is now. And we are gradually getting there. We will solve the issue of VAT, we will solve stamp duties, we will go to state police, we are so many other things. At the end of the day, as you have noted, all of us, I mean, from our decision at Enugu, we have said all our regions should at least overhaul their regional police setup. And with that, we are almost gradually moving to state police. But then the whole of the southern states or southern region have their own regional police setup or regional security outfit. So what else is left? So gradually, bit by bit, we will get where we are going to get to. But we must take it in a stride. There is no way it cannot be a wholesome thing, because by the time we come to constitutional amendment, some things we don't go through, we don't say through. But whichever one we can get now, through or legally, let us continue to do it, and until when we get to a point, I don't believe it can be wholesale. So, as you have said, Sheon, you're right. So we have started gradually.
Advisedly also, I know that I'm speaking with an executive governor, but I'm also speaking to a very learned senior advocate of Nigeria. So I'll choose my words carefully in this next question. Are the southern governors pushing us gradually to a regionalism concept of our federation?
Said some governors.
Because I said are the southern governors gradually bringing the concept of. Can you hear me now, sir?
Okay, I hear you now, Shehu.
I said, are the southern governors gradually bringing the concept of regionalism into our politics or into our federation?
No. Let me just correct that. But let me first correct one thing. You use the word executive governor. I've always corrected this name. No governor is an executive governor. I don't. Some people want to be so called. I don't want to be addressed as an executive governor. I'm only governor of my state, not the executive governor. But to your question, which you have posed, I can assure you, whether at the end of the day, issue of regionalism will evolve from all that is going on is left to the future to tell, not now. But our goal to have a Southern Governors Forum is not to force regionalism. No, it is to protect the interests of those who have voted us in the power. As you know, every other region has, Southwest has its own forum, Southeast has, South has, Middle Belt they have, Northeast they have, Northwest they have. Everybody has a forum. Even the Northern Governors Forum have existed for long, and they meet more regularly than Southern Governors Forum. So it is just at the end of the day, if we arrive at regionalism, it's only God that will tell. But for now, all we are gathered together to resolve issues that has to do with our own respective states, together as brothers.
What is the distinction between a governor and executive governor? The word executive, is that the clarification? Because you say you don't want to be referred to as executive governor.
The decision is that it is not provided for in the Constitution. The Constitution only says governor of a state, not executive. You won't find that word there. Not executive governor of a state, governor of a state.
But you are in the executive arm of government. It's just like referring to a member of the parliament as either honorable or a senator, representing what he or she does. I mean, it qualifies what you do because you are in the executive arm of government.
No, you see, there are peculiar things to many other things. Honorable, yes, for the House. The Speaker, right honorable. That is understood. Senators, distinguished. That's why only senators are qualified to bear that name, and those who are in the foreign service, ambassadors, they are the ones that bear distinguished or His Excellency. That's why, for instance, I don't ask anybody to call me. I say, don't call me His Excellency. I'm not one. But if you are an ambassador, yes, those are titles that are preserved for you. You are His Excellency, but not a governor. I'm a governor, Mr. Governor. That's all. There's nothing like executive governor. I don't just believe in it.
Okay, so it's not as if you're offended by it. Should I refer to you as the executive, Your Excellency, the executive governor of Ondo State? It's not offensive to you, only that you don't recognize it.
I always correct people. I don't want to be addressed as His Excellency, neither do I want to be called executive governor. I am Mr. Governor, governor of Ondo State. Simple.
All right, Governor, let's move on to the issue of 2023 presidency. I know that the Southern governors are not speaking as a common political platform. So isn't it difficult or isn't it weird for you to agree that the presidency should go to the South? I mean, considering the fact that you have different political parties who eventually agree on what they want.
Let me say this. If there is, if you have anything that we are agreed, there is what I would call unanimity. It is issue of president in 2023. All of us, irrespective of our political party, there are 3 political parties that are there in the Southern Governors Forum. We have ABGA, we have PDP, we have APC. All of us, we are unanimous in a position that the next president of this country must come from the South. You know, it has happened before. After the June 12th saga, everybody, virtually all agreed that the president must come from the South. And that's why you had Obasanjo and Falai that ran. So for us, we are unanimous. It's not a political platform. And I believe that for as long, if any party that beats somebody from the North will have to face the whole Southern region, Southern governments, because they will not support it. But it has to come from South. We are saying that there must be what I would call rotational, the justice of it, the fairness in it. That's what we are preaching. That it is only way. I mean, if my President Buhari is being in office for 8 years, so it cannot be from the North. The next president must come from the South. We have not gotten to a stage where we will say, let us leave it to whether somebody is competent or not competent. There are many people that are competent. You have competent people in the North as you have competent people, so many in the South. So president can come from any part of the country. But if you have occupied the position for about 8 years, it has to rotate back to South. Then we can continue to do that until it gets to a point to which maybe the issue of zoning becomes an anathema. So I don't know. But for now, zoning it is. And those of us in the South are determined to ensure that the next president comes from South.
Please stay with me, Mr. Governor, because we need to take a short break. We'll pay some bills, and when we return, we get some other thoughts from Governor ROTIMI AKEREDOLU, plus the latest story in the land about resident doctors. Julian Ojebo will join me to give insight into what the resident doctors say they want. They said there's no going back. They will appeal the case, and they will continue the nationwide strike. We get our conversation going also when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We've been speaking with the governor of Ondo State and the chair of the Southern Governors Forum, who's been giving us insight and more details on what was discussed yesterday by the governors of the region in Enugu. Thank you so much, Mr. Governor, for your time tonight. I wanted to ask, I don't know whether or not your colleagues in the PDP, because I know you're a governor of APC, I'm going to come to that in a moment, whether or not they gave you a full disclosure of what is happening in their party. Because what we are hearing is that they might go north in their decision for 2023.
Well, let me say this. Seriously, we do not go to meetings to discuss party. So, for me, what has happened in all our meetings is that we are talking as governors of the southern region. So, when we sit down, when we will have these discussions, I cannot remember me looking at somebody being from PDP or being an Abga person. So, we don't operate there on party level or at partisan basis. So we only discuss about the region, and we are not. There's no time we ever sat down to say, what are you thinking in PDP or what are you thinking in APC? But we know that in the south, where all of us come from, we are saying president must come from the south. You know, we are even from Masaba declaration, from what we said in Lagos, we reiterated it and we re-emphasized it even again in Enugu. So I can't remember me or any of us thinking about what PDP is thinking or what the APC is thinking. What we are thinking is a collective, is a decision of all of us.
Mr. Governor, just give us a few minutes because I know you need to go, but just a few minutes more. The reason I'm saying that is that as a lawyer, you know that this is not a constitutional matter. Is an arrangement which in any ways is an understanding which the PDP popularized since 1999. So the question is, if you say fairness, how fair is how fair will it be also when state like the region like North Central who believe that it is fair for the presidency to come to the North Central. The people in the Southeast believe that if it's going to go to the South, it has to be the Southeast. So in the South, if you're saying South, we're in the South.
No, what we have, thank you, Sheon, for that question, because we have tried to look at it. The issue is this: North Central, Northeast, Northwest is North. South, Southwest, Southeast is South. So for us, we have found out that look, we cannot continue to have this what I would call pigeon holes here and there, and say when it comes to South is this, when it comes to this is this. So for now, it's convenient for us to say, or we agreed, not it's convenient. Our agreement among us is that it must come to South. Where it goes in South is left for the South to decide. The South can say it's going to Southeast. The South can say it's going to South-South. The South can say it comes back to Southwest. But we are saying it comes to South. Leave it to us, or leave it to the political parties to take a decision. If PDP decides to pick their president candidate from Southeast, so be it. And APC decides to pick their own from Southwest, so be it. So for as long as the president candidate comes from South, whether Southeast, whether South-South, whether Southwest, it's all right by us. This is where we stand.
You need to go now, but
and let me say this, Sheon, that will be fair, because we cannot now decide which part of the South. But the South will be happy if it comes to South. Wherever it comes to the South, the governors of the Southern region have been discussing about bringing it to South. That's all.
I know you need to go, but quickly, in 30 seconds, if you may, are you worried about the situation in relation to the health sector? Resident doctors have been on strike. They've gone to court. The federal government won today, but they've gone to an appeal and they're asking for a stay of execution on the matter. But the consequence of the continued strike is worrisome, isn't it?
It is undoubtedly. I've gone through a split of it in Ondo State, and I know that it's a cause of concern for everybody, because whether we like it or not, this is an essential sector of the community. Look, health is so important. So for me, if I don't know how to appeal to my brothers who are medical doctors, for me, even if you have a stay, we are going to be here for long. Nigeria is going to be together for long. So if the court says go back, is there anything wrong in going back? And you can still enforce your right subsequently. There's nothing wrong in it. Why? Why is this Hippocratic law? Where are we putting it? Where is our concern for those who are healed? Our concern for the people who are to be hospitalized? Where is our concern? So for me, matters that has to do with health. I'm not saying doctors don't have a right to say they are going on strike. If they give warning, they want to go on strike, they have a right. But if there is a court order that says the strike should end, obey it and go ahead to fight your cause and appeal against it until the court says it's vacated. There's no problem. But I just believe that, look, something has to be done. All of us are concerned, and I know this is an important sector, and there's nobody that will not be worried, because we know we are not even having a pandemic. So what happens? So something has to be done. I believe that all of us, the government, must sit down to hold honest discussion with the doctors and let us put an end to all this spate of strike by doctors, by lecturers, by something has to be done. I believe so.
Governor of Ondo State and Chair of the Southern Governors Forum, Governor ROTIMI AKEREDOLU, thank you so much indeed for your time. I appreciate it, sir.
My pleasure, but let me just clear something, Oshion, before you go, because you said I was speaking for Ibadan. Yes, I'm speaking for Ibadan, but let people know that I'm in transit to Ondo. So
okay. It's good to clarify. When you're in public office,
my place of residence is Ondo. I'm only in transit.
Yeah, and a lot of people should also know that you have a home, you have an office also in Ibadan, isn't it? Yeah.
I had. Well, it's still there, but I can't run the office now, so I'm only in transit. Thank you. Thank you.
Full disclosure is very important in public office. Thank you so much for the transparency. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's switch gears now, everyone. And let's say that what is happening in the health sector gets our attention. The National Industrial Court in Abuja is restraining the resident doctors from continuing with the strike pending the determination of the substantive suit before it. The court held that there is no amount of money that will compensate for the loss of lives in the circumstance. Justice Bashar Al-Khali made the order while ruling on an application by the federal government in the suit against the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors are not backing down yet, as members have now rejected what they call an unfair judgment by the National Industrial Court ordering its members to return to work. The association, in direct reaction to the ruling of the Industrial Court today, says that they are unhappy with the ruling and have instructed the lawyers to take appropriate action to challenge the court decision. They are therefore asking their members to continue the nationwide strike as they apply for a stay of execution and gone back to court to appeal the ruling. There was a statement by the doctors today. They allege that they were denied fair hearing and have accused the federal government of refusing to resume negotiation despite the court order. The court order now says they have shown good faith and are now resolute to fight their grievances and to the very end. They are appealing to their members to remain calm in the face of the continued stand off. Let's get talking about this because we have a member of NARD in our Abuja studio. But what are the issues that we are going to take up with him tonight? First and foremost, why is NARD appealing this matter? The consequence of the continued strike, and what are their grievances? What are the doctors talking about? The bottom line of all of this is that we want a resolution of the impasse. We can't just continue like this. I have joining me tonight Dr. Julian Ojebo is the Chairman Communication and Communique of the Resident Doctor Association and the immediate past first Vice President of the National Association of Resident Doctors. He is in our Abuja studio. Dr. Ojebo, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First and foremost, we understand that when the President, Muhammadu Buhari, met with the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, the President specifically told the health workers that every other issue that had gone to court should be resolved out of court. Why is NARD still in court?
Very good question, Shehu. I think that question should be directed to the Minister of Labour, who took NARD to court sometime in August. These issues are issues that actually ordinarily can actually be resolved easily if the government, the political appointees, are actually serious about the issues in hand. Let me give you a quick one. We talked about the medical residency training funding. Now, we got good intel that the monies for the medical residency training has been moved to the Ministry of Finance via the IPPIS office. All they need to do now is just to get a letter allowing them to pay the money. If they had done that letter by the Ministry of Health, sometime around 5 p.m. of yesterday, all our members all across the country, 16,000 of them, would have gotten their salaries, their medical residency training funding. As we speak to you, our members have not been paid their August salaries. Okay, now this is school time, this is school season. Our members, children of our members are going to be embarking, resuming school. How do you want them to pay their school fees? They can't fend for themselves. So these are the issues we are talking about. Now, generally, we have said...
But sorry, Dr. Ojebo, that statement you made, but I thought that the federal government has said is a no work, no pay regime. I thought that was clear, isn't it?
Shehu, that in itself is laughable. What about work and no pay regime? Who has said anything about that? The government of today is owing our members in University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital for 8 months. They have not paid them. What has the government done for them? Our members in the University of Federal Medical Center in Lokoja have not been paid for 7 months. What has been done to them? Our members in University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospitals have not been paid for 5 months. What has been done to them?
Are these state governments?
So I think that should be the reverse.
Is it the state government or the federal government that has not paid?
I talked about University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital. These are all federal government institutions. I'm not talking about the state government. Let me go to what His Excellency Governor AKEREDOLU said. He talked about a sit-down. Governor AKEREDOLU is owing our members in Ondo State. Has he sat down with our members in Ondo State? He hasn't done that. So these are the issues we are talking. We are talking about political insincerity. When there is insincerity from the part of government, you have such impasse as this. If the government was a serious government, we will not be on day 47 of our strike. This strike would have been halted on day 2. But because there's insincerity on the part of government, that's why we are seeing this impasse last till this time. Okay, if the government was also serious, it would have paid 114 of our house officers that have been lamenting for non-payment of their salaries for the period of 8 months. Our members that died in the space of COVID-19, 21 of them as at the last count. What has been done to their death in benefit services? We're talking about that you have resident doctors on specialist grade level and you're not paying them specialist allowances and no one is talking about that. So there's so much insincerity in the part of government.
So
now we went to court
Dr. Ojebo, so in this instance, the industrial court today has instructed your members to go back to work. So give us officially the response of NARD on this.
Now, the national leadership led by our president, Dr. Oyulawa Okwai-Sui, and the National Officers Committee, proceeding from the ruling by His Lordship Justice Akali, said that we should go back to work immediately. There was a little brainstorm by the top leadership of the NARD and our legal representative, Femi Falana, Femi Aborishade, and Chief Robinson Ario. These legal minds put heads together with the top leadership, and we said that we feel that this is a violation of human rights. Okay? The rights of 16,000 Nigerian doctors are being trampled upon because these 16,000 Nigerian doctors have not been paid their salaries. So we feel that there was not fair hearing of the demands, the legitimate demands of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. Sequel to that, we instructed our legal team to put a stay of execution and appeal the judgment, and appeal the ruling, sorry, because we feel, and we are well within our rights, that this judgment, this ruling is not in favor of the Nigerians that they claim to rule in their favor. Because, Shem, I will tell you, imagine, okay, while we are in court, just imagine, look at this scenario. While we are in court, His Lordship, Justice Akali, imagine he had a cardiac arrest. Who will be the people to resuscitate him? Is it those 16,000 Nigerian doctors that have not been paid their salaries? They are shivering from hypoglycemia. Are they not the ones he's going to call upon to resuscitate him? Okay, just yesterday on the news, we saw the chairman of the EFCC, okay, having some medical issues. Who are the people that they are going to rush him to go and meet? Resident doctors. Imagine that these resident doctors have not been paid, but the person they are trying to resuscitate has been paid. Is that not a misplaced judgment or misplaced ruling? So that is why we strongly feel that this is against our normal legal rights, against our mental health. Imagine my child goes to school and my child is told to return home because I have not paid their school fees. Is that not against my mental stability? How do you want me to treat you, Shehu, if you come to me and tell me that you have issues? Of course, I'm going to be thinking about how I'm going to raise funds to take care of the bills of my family members and not your personal problem. So we are saying that we will continue our strike because we have filed for a stay of execution, and we have appealed the case because we believe in the mandate of the Dr. Uyulawa-led National Officers Committee that this is a breach of our fundamental human rights. And we will not take this because a healthy doctor is as good as the patient is trying to take care of. And a staff doctor is a danger to the entire polity that we are in. So again, I say, if you staff 16,000 Nigerian doctors, the pool is 35,000. Take away 16,000. You can do the maths yourself.
All right. So let me ask you. So because the doctors are there because of the patients, and so what is important now is how to resolve this matter. Give me an idea of the minimum requirements that you doctors and the resident doctors require from the government to resolve this issue or to go back to work.
Simple, Shehu. Our problems are divided into two. One arm of our problem is policy. The other arm of our problem is payments. Okay? Now, let me take the policy. We are saying that the time interval for when one chief medical director changes or replaces one doctor in any federal teaching hospital or federal medical center is between 1 and 2 years. Change that policy. That is one of the things we're saying. Number two policy, we are saying stop the casualization of medical doctors as seen in over 23 centers, member centers of NARD. 23. Some of them have been casualized for 2 years. Some of them for 18 months. Okay? We are saying, stop the casualization of these doctors. We are also saying, the head of the civil service, the head of the civil service of the Federation, the head of service of the Federation, we are saying that she rose to the rank of head of service, permanent secretary, because the 1-year compulsory house officer rotation was included in her promotion cadre. We are saying do not remove the house officers from the scheme of service. Those are the 3 policies we are talking about. The number 4 policy we are talking about, we are saying that resident doctors, senior registrars are specialist registrars, and as such they deserve their specialist allowances. We are saying, let's sit down, let's look for ways to impute into the scheme of service, just as all our neighboring West African countries have done, like in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, and in the Gambia, where senior registrars are specialists, impute that into this scheme of service. That is part of the policy we are talking about. Now let's go to payment. We are saying that most of our members in University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital, a Federal Medical Center, Lokoja, and many others, we are saying they've not been paid between 1 to 8 months. Pay them their legitimate salaries. We are saying that because of casualization of our doctors, you have not paid them what is due them according to the civil service, which is Commerce 3 Step 3 as their entry point. We are saying put them on Commerce 3 Step 3 and pay them what they are supposed to be paid. For the local doctors, for the house officers, we are saying
Dr.
114 of them are not being paid.
Yeah, it does look like this is a long list of requirements or long list of the demands.
No, I'm just dividing them into 2 parts.
Yeah, I'm just
These
saying
are the 2 issues.
what could be the immediate and urgent requirement minimum that you need, because you're reeling out all of the demands that you have been asking the government. But we need to resolve this matter, and personally, this is a personal feeling that, look, maybe we could resolve this out of court. Maybe it might be easier. Maybe get back to the negotiation table. But what in the thinking of the doctors, for the sake of the patient, that you will need the minimum, maybe 1 or 2, that will make you go back to work?
Shehu, let me digress a little bit. We have talked about for the sake of the patient, for the health of the patient. What about the health of the doctor? This doctor has not been paid for 8 months. How do you expect him to feed? He has not been paid for 8 months. Nobody is talking about that. 114 house officers have not been paid for 8 months. Nobody is talking about that. We go for exams, and the minimum amount of money we spend per year is between 1.5 and 2.5 million. The government gives us just a piecemeal of 542,000 naira, and everybody is going gaga. Just a piecemeal of 542. This is just some of the monies we need per year. We are saying pay that sum for us to augment from our own savings, our own earnings, so that we can take care of this, our exams and our
all right, because we're out of time. We're out of time. Because now the federal government will tell you that it's not because there is no money to pay, but because they are finalizing on the issue of the process of payment. And that's the reason why they have not paid. But the question is that there are some states, I understand maybe Lagos, Rivers, or a few states that are meeting the requirement. But because of your members are generally on a nationwide strike, those states are suffering. The states that are satisfied, your members in their own state, why are they the ones also bearing the brunt?
Shehu, Lagos State is one of the greatest beneficiaries of healthcare and of the services of our doctors. Go to the Lagos University, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital and check the patient load to the doctor ratio, and you see that our doctors are burning out. They are going through mental fatigue. Some of them have suicidal tendencies.
The question is that
because they are overstretched.
But in Lagos State that you mentioned, there are no cases of them not paying their workers, the resident, your members. So would you allow them to go back to work in those kind of states, like Lagos, for example?
Shehu, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors is a unity. It's a union It's a union that has both state and federal teaching hospitals. Okay, you cannot pluck out your eyes and say you want to walk from Lagos, from Oshodi to Ilupeju. You can't do that. You are going to fall into a ditch. So it is not, we don't treat issues in isolation. When we have pockets of issues, we try to resolve them at that level. But when we have greater than 1/3 of our member centers having issues, we treat them as a collective.
All right,
Lagos State
Dr.
is one of the problems that we have.
But we need to go because we're out of time. But I must sincerely thank you. And I appreciate your efforts in explaining these issues. And we do hope that these things will be resolved for the generality of the Nigerian public. Thank you so much, Dr. Ojebo, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimbale. Bye for now.